What's up, YouTube? It's Brick Rod Garage here, coming to you for Behind the Brick Episode 2, teaching you how to make a Lego flex. I originally found this design on Instagram from Instagram user brick.builder.y. He came up with the design, I figured it out, and I've modified it since then. And since you guys keep asking and asking and asking, I'm going to show you how to make it work. My first truck I did was the Bullet Run truck, which is this big truck, this little guy back here. First truck I applied to it, so that's got the original design on it, so we won't be focusing too much on that one. But all these trucks are already done. What flexing is make it like a Jeep. For those of you who don't know, makes it so the suspension moves up and down, makes it a little more realistic, makes it a lot more fun for pictures and for play. But as you can see, all of these have already been done, so we need a donor truck. See if I can find one. Oh wait, here comes one now. Whoops, too far. See, when you modify a Lego, you can make it look pretty cool, put bigger axles, bigger tires underneath it, but I always thought just not enough until I found this design, and like I said, I modified it a little bit to make it work a little better for me. So I'm going to teach you guys in this video on how to do that with this truck. Basic things you're going to need. First, we're going to need to rip out all the old suspension, which can be kind of heartbreaking for some people, but if you're into modifying Legos, not really that heartbreaking. So we'll take all this stuff off. Still need that. Like I said, this truck's been already modified except for the suspension, so let's throw all that to the side. Now we've got our basic truck. You notice I left this piece on because this piece is very important for the next part of it. You'll need a couple of these. Actually, you'll need 4 of these little pieces. Not really sure what they are. There's little axle pieces here. In this next part, you need 2 of these. Now, you probably have a lot of these lying around your house from extra pieces. I have found the black pieces work the best. I've used the gray ones a couple times, but it actually makes the axle too loose, and it makes it really hard when you're trying to take a picture, because especially with this truck, I used the gray piece on, I ended up ripping them out and putting black ones on. So I would take a picture and the truck would fall over, which is kind of frustrating when you're trying to take pictures. Anyways, how to make it flex. Really simple. And you guys afterwards are like, really, that's all you did to make this thing flex? Yep. Really, really simple. Nothing I do is that complicated, and that's why I want to share it with you guys. Just click all these together, and look, it flexes. That'd be too easy. Take this piece to connect them like that, and like that. Get it nice and snug in there. Get it nice and centered. And then you bring in your axles. Actually, I'm supposed to put the axles on first. See, I'm skipping steps because I got excited about this. So, yeah, just snap the axle on here. And just snap the axle on there. We got ourselves a nice rolling chassis that can flex. See, look, it'll flex real nice now. Put boxes under there, trees, whatever you want to do. Makes it just like a Jeep. So flex is pretty nice, as you can see there. It's pretty awesome. So this is a really simple thing to do. Sometimes what I will do, which I will not do on this build, because if not, you have to beef up the axles. If you want to add a little bit more beefiness to make sure the axles don't fall off, you're going to take some pictures, or your kids are going to play really hard with this. Snap those pieces in there like that, and it just stiffens that up a little bit. But now the problem is you're going to have to add a second piece like this, so it can still flex freely underneath there. And that's what I had to do with the van back here, which I'll show you that in a minute. We're actually going to take all this off, because there's another way you can do this too. Oops, taking things apart. Fun parts about building with Legos. They can always go back together. So I tell my son when he plays this stuff in my book, I don't care if you break it, just let me know so I can figure out where all the pieces are. So you can just snap underneath there, and that like this. Real nice and easy. And what I do, I need that red piece back, just take pieces in here like this, just to make sure your suspension is going to stay together. Like I said, it's nothing more frustrating than when you go to take pictures, it falling apart. So now you have a Lego truck that flexes. Super easy. Like I said, really, really easy design. The original design was come up by brick.builder.y on Instagram. I figured out and said this is my modified version of it. Super easy to do. Next thing I'm going to show you guys. So this is all about teaching you how to make Legos flex in this thing. Is how to make the independent suspension. Now this is actually not my design either. This is Lego's design. It's been on the Red Skull's one truck, the one fire truck. Super easy. Just put those underneath there like that. Some little Technic pieces, some pins in there. And then you just throw your wheels on in there. But if you don't have those pieces at home, let's get a little underneath shot for you. If you don't have these pieces at home and you have some spare Technic pieces lying around, that will still work too, because that's what I had to do on Big Red here. Because Big Red, when I made it originally, I wanted it desperately to have rear wheels flexed. See, as you can see, I added the blacks underneath here, so it makes it a little more beefier, which is nice. But when I went to make Big Red, after I did Frankenrod, I did not have the pieces, so I simply just took these 3 Technic pieces and just made it work. Because, you know, especially if you guys, if any of you have kids out there, you know that sometimes the Lego budget is scarce because kids come first. So you have to do what you got to do. And sometimes I found when you don't have the money to build something and you really want to build it, it's awesome to use just your parts you have. Like this is the first truck I made, the Flex. This is the original design. Whoops. This thing comes apart really easy. That's why I leave it on top of my garage. And this is the original design. It's just, it's good. And if you're using a little chassis, you have to use the original design, which is, you can figure that out. See? It just has the block instead of the 2 axle pieces. But if you're going to use a regular frame, you're going to have to use that, because if not, the axle will be sticking out too far. But maybe you can do it a little bit better. But this is my Bullet Run truck. This is the first truck I made flex, and this is actually entered into Ray Brick's old page that he had. He doesn't have anymore, because I wanted to, this is when I first started getting back into Legos, right before I launched my page. On Instagram, I made this truck, so this is probably my favorite truck I made that flexes. My most flexible truck I made would be Crossbones. This had actually started out as the Crossbones, whatever, the Avengers Age Civil War set. I saw this and I love Jeeps. I'm like, I can make something awesome. So I made a Jeep truck that can call 2 dirt bikes with this thing. It's pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy with the way this thing turned out. And the flexibility is pretty much insane. It's like a real Jeep. That's what I like about the most of this thing, because it's like having a real Jeep. You can definitely get some really crazy articulation going on with the front and the back like that. And I even made it have a Stinger front bumper, because if you're going to have a Jeep that's going to go play in the woods, it's got to have the Stinger. If we could take a look at this, I said this is the most crazy one I did. I even put I had to make axles bigger to fit these tires, as you can see. So then I even made it look like it had a little drive shaft in here, because I'm like, you know what, if I'm going to go this crazy with it, why not just add that little extra detail and have a drive shaft in there? But this is basically how you make a Lego Flex. It's really, really, really simple. I hope you guys are enjoying seeing how this works. And this is the van I made. This is what I was talking about. If you add these pieces in here to keep the axle a little more solid, which works out really well, because then it stays together better when you're taking pictures. And if you have kids that are going to play with it like mine do, it's better to have something a little more stable. But the problem is you're going to have to double, and even in this case, I had to triple the plates, or else there'd be, it's just part of the design when I redid this van. This is part of that caravan and van set. I did this for my wife's graduation right before then, because I knew we were going to go into near the mountains. We actually stopped in the Blue Ridge Parkway. Funny story, I almost drove off. I flew off the road. My wife laughs and she tells the story, because we hadn't been on the Blue Ridge Parkway in probably 5 years, and I saw a sign. I'm like, and took her Explorer a little off-road and got some pretty epic pictures for that. But this van, it's one of my favorite ones I made, just because, you know, if you have kids, you want to envision, this is the thing that guys envision when they have a van. This off-road epic van, not the minivan like I have to drive. But hey, you have kids, you make the sacrifices, it is well worth it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know this episode's a lot shorter than the last one. Looks like it's going to be only about 10 minutes, but that's okay. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and follow, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Behind the Brick, episode 2, and I will try to get my son on episode 3 coming up here. Hopefully we can get that worked out. Let me know what you want to see in some upcoming episodes. I'm curious to see what you guys want to see, what you like, what you don't like. Yeah, just let me know. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brick Rod Garage. Until next time.